Welcome to 1620 High Noon on Blanchard Street. Wow, we got an exciting show. We got one of the best fighter athletes on the planet here today, fighter and lover. It's Jason Heit. We've got Kit Warren, the executive producer, hosting the show besides myself. We're Robin Unger, working the production, and creative director in all things technical. We have Jeremiah Jones Armstrong. What a great show we got ahead for you, 1620. Heimsy's Hot Shots. We got a few of them here in the room. We're going to tell you all kinds of great things. You're going to be able to listen and see for yourself what it takes to be a champion of mind, body, and spirit here on the Health, Sex, and Longevity Show at 1620 Blanchard. Hello, Jason.
Kenny Himes, man, that got it all started for me. Right there.
No shit.
He gave me the opportunity
he
to
got
fight.
us all started.
There was no fights.
It was all about fighting. You know what? I was
Those
training
headphones
for
there,
fucking,
Mike, are those gray ones?
Months for boxing, and then nobody's there to fight. Nobody's there to fight. Nobody's there to fight.
Yeah.
And you go over to Vancouver, going around, and it's like, what the hell is this shit? At
Good.
least you wanted to go. You were solid.
Kit.
Okay, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what we were
Was
looking
it the workout going into it? That you felt the most? Like all the work you had to do with Donnie?
All the work. 3 months of fucking 3 months of boxing around and getting your head bunched in.
seaweed?
You go to your show. You get all the jitters for all week
very
about it. You're training ready, and you go there, and there's I don't know, nah. You're not fighting tonight. You're like, what?
Oh, yeah.
So then that's what totally moved me to Tough Man.
Well, you want some hooligan grease?
And there was money.
Hooligan
Yeah.
You were paying everywhere
Incentive.
else. You were paying to
That
go
was
everywhere
great.
else.
Yep.
You had to pay this, and you had to pay that. You just showed up
Yep.
3 times in a night, $1,000.
Boom. That got me on trips for rugby, because rugby was the
Me
same
too.
thing. You
That's
had to
what
pay
paid
for your
me to
rugby.
New Zealand to play rugby over
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah.
So your first one was to go play rugby in New
Took
Zealand?
that money, and I went and played rugby in New Zealand.
Fuck, I didn't know that.
For half a year over there.
Cool. That's dope. That half a year in where?
Wellington.
Wellington.
Yeah, Wellington College. What
So,
an amazing experience.
did you go-
Man, that team was stacked.
With lots.
But Mark Ellis played for them. Highest scoring rugby player in any game in the history of the World Cup. Mark Ellis.
Wow. So
Yeah,
he was
another
on
Wellington College
your
boy.
team down there, or what?
A year ahead, but Wellington College boy. They had all the Tiatias.
Yep.
There's a famous family called the Tiatias. They've a bunch like
So huge rugby town. Would you go? What would be at a game? You'd have the whole town coming out to the game.
Yeah, at a college rugby game there, yeah, you'd easily have 2,500 people there watching the game. This is like, but when the All Blacks would be playing there or something, yeah, the stadium would fill up and it'd be a sellout. Yeah.
Would the colleges do Maori dance things
yeah.
before?
Yeah.
Did they all have their own dance things? Because I've seen some videos.
I had to learn how to do
Really?
the haka.
Can you still do the haka?
Parts?
Let's
I
hear
remember
some.
parts
Let's hear
of it.
some
I
savagery.
kinda actually feel like I butcher it, so I don't
Really?
wanna- Well,
So-
I mean, I want to. If I'm going to do it, I
You wanna
got to
practice
pay
up
the
for it.
right respects to
Yeah.
the culture, and I don't
Totally.
want to butcher it because it's an amazing culture and amazing people, and I wouldn't want to do it incorrectly because it's been a long time. But I would love
So
to rekindle
that would be
I would love to rekindle that and learn some of that culture again. And I had a lot
It's
of
similar to
of
here.
good Maori and Samoan friends over there. They're
It's similar to this island culture, though.
Very similar.
Islanders
Yeah.
fit in well here,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
We're fucking Islanders.
Islanders. Yeah.
and
Remember
I like the dance too, but I was on the opposite side of that dance. I was like doing the college New Zealand rugby league haka.
Yeah.
They beat us 88-0. Just cleaned our clocks. Which
so this was-
games
this
do you
was a-
remember of going down against some massive Maori warriors?
Oh yeah. Like they did. Well, we played. Oh my God, I don't even.
The names.
Christ Church
Yeah.
Cathedral. We played a big game, a big tournament down there, which is an amazing school. Yeah, they used to break up like regions, so you'd have unfortunately you wouldn't go up to Auckland or play because we were South Island, so they'd kind of have half the island above and half the island below, would be your region, but like huge regions. Great players, great culture over there. Like the team that I played for, which is again a college, which over there is like maybe grade 9 to 12 or something like that. Okay. Right. And but I think it's like they call it different. It's forms over there, not grades. But this is a school of the size of a high school around here, in Victoria. So maybe 1,500 people or something like that. And they fielded like 24 rugby teams. 24. So like everybody played.
So everyone played. Women.
Everybody played.
Everybody played. So it was the heart and soul of the country, really.
Recess, lunch, everybody's playing rugby.
Practicing. Now, what about like Carlin Isles has been doing this sprint training and all of this different types of training. Was that any of that happening back then, or would you just go to the beach and play on the sand, or what was something that was going on that you learned and took with your training?
I found track and field was pretty common over there.
Yep.
As was swimming, as was like water polo and I don't know, cricket. They had a few different games, but I think if you're playing other sports, I think it just has a real crossover. Because I think anytime we do one sport too much, there's you create imbalances in the body. So
totally.
They really play a lot of sports over there. A lot of different types of sports, basketball.
So you've seen that wide range,
athletic, and I thought they were eating a pretty good diet over there. Not probably as many processed foods as we're eating over here. So then you see more people in good shape just due to their exercise, clean food.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're doing here today. We got a whole bunch of veggies and looking to better our practice, sort of each day, a little bit at a time for different things. So what have you taken from rugby that you've put into your boxing or your fighting or some of your MMA stuff?
Well, I think durability. If you're going to play rugby, you got to be durable. You're playing through pain. You're playing through injury. You're playing under pressure. You're playing with teammates. Martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, BJJ, MMA. Those are all individual sports, but you wouldn't be anywhere without your team. If you don't have a team around you to prepare you and practice with, and to trust, and you got to be good.
The different dynamics of a team.
Got to be good to your team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And the team is your coach, your the people you're sparring with, your running partner, your sport trainer.
You got to drill everything with a partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe that partner's bigger. Maybe he's taking it easy on you. Maybe he's more experienced, or maybe you're bigger and more experienced than him. You got to take it easy on that guy. You can't injure each other in training. You know what I mean? And
so do you find that's some guys don't turn it off, and so they're just punching away as hard as they can and fighting? And how do you tone down a fighter that is at the gym that's not really being a team player? He's that one-sided kind of guy.
Well, there's a time and place for it. You know what I mean? Maybe that 5-4 week away from your fight, you probably should be turning it up a little bit.
Okay.
But again, it's got to be in control, and you can't take too much because you're really going to shorten your life if you do too much heavy sparring. You're going to have injuries and just more trauma to the brain than it's unnecessary. But nothing else is going to get you in that kind of fight condition as hard sparring. So you do got to do some. But if someone is being a bit of a bully in the gym, the thing is there's always someone tougher.
Yeah.
So, there's usually enforcers at a gym where it's like, hey man, you're being I don't know if enforcer is the right word, but there's just always somebody that's better.
It's a team looking out for the team.
There's just always someone that's better.
Yeah.
So what goes around comes around, and people keep that in mind. But at the same time, there's heat of the moment, things happen, and the thing is that they do happen, but it's amazing that how quickly guys will get over it in the gym. You know, I see it all the time. You know, you're training, you're going relaxed. You know, you're going light because it's just you're drilling, right? You can't always go hard on everything. So the drilling, you can get a lot of reps without the impact, right?
So you go to sort of full contact 5 months out, or how?
Well, it totally
you got to
depends.
fight.
So many. It's just so. I guess there's a
Depends on
lot
the
of
person.
you know, is this an amateur fight? Is this a pro fight?
Yeah.
How many rounds is this? Because you know your training is going to be different. How many fights do you have? Who's your opponent?
I think
You know, it's there's just so many variables. But I would say, yeah. I mean, I think a fighter should always be training. Just always be training. How do you not train? If you're a fighter and you're not training, like, what are you doing? You're in the wrong sport.
And
you know?
training, by training you mean all disciplines,
It's always
especially
making
when
yourself
it's
better, making
MMA
yourself stronger,
stuff.
making yourself
That's
faster, making yourself a better technician. If not, like, you know, where are you going to go in this incredibly competitive sport that, you know, is really hard to make, you know, professional sport money in? You know, so like, why do it? Why do it and just be okay at it?
Well,
It's not a good career.
They
if
say
you're
that
okay at it.
8 hour a day training for a professional athlete, and that's in a bunch of different disciplines. So not just doing boxing or not just doing one thing for that 8 hours. You're doing your nutrition. You're doing all of the practices to make you get that spot.
Yeah, that's where MMA is so hard. You know, like, I mean, hey, they're all hard. I'm not saying anyone is harder.
But the disciplines needed for MMA is all of them in one.
Yeah, see, MMA, there's just so much technique to learn and practice and keep, you know.
Yep. Keep learning, because you keep seeing these new. What's the latest choke, or what's the latest new thing that somebody's just seen, and they're like, "Whoa!"
There's new stuff coming out.
So you got to defend from that.
And we all, I don't care who you are, everybody's got some holes.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they can get away with it with certain things, but everybody's got holes.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, it's always a 50-50 when you get in the ring. It's like, well, did you sleep well that night, or you got a little flu bug? There's something else going on, and all these you got to get over them.
GSP didn't have many holes though.
No? Yeah, he kept tight.
No holes on him.
Well, he wanted to stop anything and just make the win, right?
Yeah.
So I went and watched GSP in Montreal for the first Canadian show.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man. The audience there was singing. They were all singing, and it was just a wild place to be.
Who did he fight that night?
The rematch with Sarah. Is it?
Sarah.
Oh, Matt Sarah. Oh, the rematch in the hometown.
Yeah, hometown rematch. And we were going out there to watch Caleb Starnes.
Yep.
Oh yeah, shout out Caleb Starnes.
Saw Caleb last weekend.
Oh, cool. Right on. How's he doing?
The fights at Eastside Boxing Gym. They had a first women-only boxing card in Vancouver.
Very
which
good.
is pretty rad.
Love the women's sport. The girls they're super smart, man.
You know, women's boxing is coming a long way. There's a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Like, provincials are this weekend. In
This
Richmond,
weekend, provincial.
And like, it's a deep, talented pool of
So do you have
female
fighters in there?
I've got 6 fighters.
Okay, let's hear about this. Oh, this is fantastic. I heard a rumor that you were taking on some boxing, BC boxing stuff and coaching, and what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I've just got a great group of boxers and, you know, amateur boxers right now, and they're all progressing. And yeah, well, provincials are this weekend. Last year we sent 3 to the nationals. Had 3 provincial champions, 5 medalists.
Congratulations!
And this year we got
done.
6 in there. I'm actually surprised we don't have more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd like to see more. There's still, there's a lot more weight categories, that are open on our team for fighters to be in there. But you got to be at that high level, to be an open fighter, and then that's the road: provincials, and then nationals, and then national team, and then you're representing the country. So yeah, we've got
some good goals.
6 people from our gym here.
So tell me about, are they coming from different areas, or just Victoria's a hotbed of boxing right now?
Victoria and Langford, yeah. I mean, there's some good talent out here for sure. it's a lot of Victoria's always had good fighters.
Souk, isn't it? Isn't that where the Wonder Woman comes? And the lady putting on Ellen, she'll bring up people from all over North America, including Mexico, to fight in her Wonder Woman shows 2 or 3 times a year in Souk, of all places. Wow. And they get. Have you been out to the shows?
Yeah. Like I say, it's good to see women's boxing growing, and it's good to see the depth in there. And
well, why are all the women so tough in Souk?
Good oxygen.
I think this island just has some good, healthy, strong people on it.
Well, getting back to your story, you came from a nice house and the nice area of town and stuff like that, but you were a very aggressive, violent guy the night of the boxing show when you knocked out 3 adults. Where does that anger come from that you put together and cemented into KOing 3 older men? I mean, you had butterflies going this, I would imagine. And
so what you're referring to, the Tough Man?
1990.
1990 Tough Man?
Cliff LeCain was working the television from the Q. And,
3. Do you remember some of the highlight of the guys?
Ken Dobson from CFAX was the ring announcer.
Yeah, the Dauber.
And it just all felt really cool. Sports Traders.
And was that was at Memorial, right?
Yeah.
Memorial Arena.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a wild night.
September 22nd.
Well, that was 3 in a row. Now, then you went to the boxing and did 3 in a row.
Yeah, switched to the boxing, switched to amateur boxing, which was, a little bit of a challenge considering I had to deal with a little bit of disclosure on what I made because I made $1,000 that night. So technically, is this kid a pro or is he an amateur? He's had three pro fights. So there was a little bit of like, what do we do with this kid?
Well, if you were an NHL player or a basketball player, you could just go to the Olympics.
But went to amateur boxing and then won the provincials and the nationals and won the nationals and provincials all by knockout, which was pretty
wild,
pretty cool,
bro.
Yeah,
pretty wild. And do you in your practice was there street stuff that took into account? Like where did you get your practice? Ring, street, everywhere. You did some bodyguard work. You're practicing.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I did have some family members. I do have like 2 uncles they're both professional fighters. They both fought at Madison Square Garden.
What? Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So it's down in the lineage. Some genetics going on here, man.
What are their names?
So how tall are you? What's your weight?
Tony Ventura. He fought guys like
Tony
George Chuvalo.
Ventura.
He fought like George Chuvalo. 2 fights against him. He trained.
That's a lineage.
At, Fifth
that
Street.
Just happens.
Trained
bro.
at Fifth Street in Miami.
Cool.
Like he, and then Anton LaBarbera, same thing. These guys were, fighting in Madison Square Garden. They were there, so there was an exposure to the sport, but
early, like before you're 17. Did you know this?
Yeah.
So you learned the boxing was kind
of like 4 or 5 years old. I wanted to be a fighter when I grew up.
That's
what I wanted to do.
Drive in.
I don't know why. I have no idea why, but I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. That like, wait a second. I remember like watching boxing and asking my dad, like, wait a second, this is their job. I thought we weren't allowed to fight.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, these guys are athletes. They're in the ring, and that's how they make their money. That's their job. And I'm like, I want to do that. And then I was like, watched Rocky, and then I was like,
that was it.
I want to do that.
I had the tiger up the steps, man. That was the same.
Yeah.
Did you use cannabis at all in the early days?
No.
Okay.
No.
Is that right, eh?
No, I didn't. I was, I don't know.
Athlete.
I guess when I was training, I looked at absolutely everything in if it was making me a better athlete or not. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if cannabis, I wouldn't say it made me a better athlete, but I wouldn't say it made me a worse athlete. You know what I mean? I don't think it really had any effect on me.
Any bearing.
Either way, but as an athlete, where you could be having drug tests that could have a very, very big impact on your career.
Yep. I never started cannabis. I was about 33 as well. I wanted to focus on running and having.
And I don't think young minds, I think young minds need to be very careful how they're getting into cannabis or using cannabis.
Yep.
I think there's. I think there's more room for research around that, and I think it's for adults.
You're developing perspectives,
but medicinally, there's different problems with use that I completely understand.
Schizophrenia, for example.
Cannabis is going to be somebody with problem with seizures or something like that. Like, hey, I 100% understand what a doctor would prescribe that for, or what somebody would self-prescribe that for what they need. But
have you used some of these new creams and other things?
Yeah. I think creams are great.
Yeah.
I've used them. I've used them.
Inflammation removal and sort of body repair and working the ligaments and we like to dive into cannabis a lot here. We do have a beautiful ring in there that sometimes we would love to have the podcast learn some techniques and learn some stuff off you on another episode or something. That would be fantastic. I think our viewers would like to learn the mathematics or the dynamics of boxing with a sweet science, they call it. And it's a sweet science because of those mathematics, because of the techniques and stuff?
Oh, man, the techniques, like, it's such a deep sport.
Are you still learning?
Yeah.
Like a daily thing?
I don't know about daily, because that's why one of the things why I really like to go back to, the gym, the gyms I trained at in the States, because I kind of go back to school now as a coach when I go there. When I was going down there as a fighter, I was going, I was learning there, but now, it's nice to be able to learn a bit as a coach, and I've got some, great boxing gyms that I've trained out of in LA. Wild Card, I trained out of there for a long time, and
very cool.
We brought our team down there for a training camp before the last year's nationals, and it was amazing. And we're planning on doing another one before next year's nationals.
You're in Hollywood too. You're in Hollywood.
March. Yep, March, April. Yeah.
I saw some of the photos on Facebook.
So the Freddie Roach.
Freddie Roach. And whatnot.
Yeah.
That's I was trying to get down there. I got lost. I got lost in Hollywood somewhere. I ended up in the museums and the wax museums and shit because I ate some edibles.
Oh,
and
edibles.
They're not really titrated very good. It says 10 milligrams or whatever. I was fucking just.
Oh, you're just tripping in Hollywood. Oh.
I couldn't even find the Freddie Roach gym. I want to go so bad.
Were you going to train on edibles too?
Oh, I exercise always on cannabis.
Oh, really?
It takes away your pain. It just brings you to a higher level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with people like yourselves in the room right now, great rugby players, great one of the greatest fighters of all time. Gets way more women than I do, and can we? It's just inspiring to work out and train all the time. And
Kenny
but
Himes.
how many women was
We
it?
love him.
Was there not like Magic Johnson? He had thousands and thousands, and Gene Simmons of Kiss. But I mean, you always had the great looks. You've always been taller than most of us. Little mushroom people, and you got that. You got to look
you on the spot,
a little bit like the UFC owner.
So this podcast is about laughter and real conversation, and you're comfortable with no comments. Those are fine too.
Just going to plead the fifth.
Yeah, plead the fifth.
America.
It's the
God bless America.
You don't find the gold unless you dig, right? And so sometimes we're digging,
but I've heard of women talk about him like he's a piece of meat.
We like the sounds of that, Ken. Let's hear some stories on that because obviously you've already heard them.
Oh yeah. Who's that guy?
So I found that when you're training and you're specializing and being better, women tend to like that. They like men that are striving to be better versions of their last. So I think that's just a norm. And when you're practicing your art and your art of MMA, which is these dudes fight for 5 freaking minutes times 3. Like, what the fuck is that? That would have been unheard of in the day. We would roll around for a minute, be like, I'm out of breath. Okay, let's have a break.
Sugar Ray Robinson, 5 miles backwards.
5 miles
I
backward.
will fucking run backwards for the rest of my life now. Because do you ever see Ali, the way he can just move out of the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
techniques and adding to your game, right? What's your latest one that you've added? I know you're doing a lot of the
Secrets.
coaching, so your latest one was learning off Freddie Roach and all those guys down there in Los Angeles
the
about all
secrets.
this cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's nice to be down there and work with great coaches and great athletes and absorb that, and the confidence when my fighters are working with high level fighters. Like Brandon got to spar with Diego Pacheco last time when we were
That's
down
gonna
there.
up his game right away.
That guy, Diego will be a world champion. Like
Cool.
that kid is unbelievable. He's a Mexican champion. He's the USA amateur champion. He's 18 years old. He's 8-0 as a pro.
Yep.
DAZN contract. I mean,
To get a chance to spar with that, it rubs off on you, and you now punch faster.
Yeah.
Snap is there, and your movement has.
confidence is better. Nobody's moving as fast as that guy. So
Well, you must have felt pretty confident, too, the time you took on that guy who took on Randy Couture, the boxer, and finally you just punched him in the nuts because he kept trying to bite you all
Is
the
that
time.
an MMA one? What the hell was that
Bitch,
one?
I'm gonna bite you, you bitch. Well, this guy shows up and he's got his gang of they got guns and stuff, and Jason's just a Canadian white boy, and he's in with the most dangerous heavyweights at the time, or super middleweights, or he could go two different piles. Who are we talking about again?
Oh,
This is great. I got it on old VHS footage.
Nice.
He sent it to me. He's
Okay,
taking
let's
on
hear about this. I've not even
This
heard
guy was
about
the
this.
Mike Tyson of his time.
In Victoria,
I fucking
or
got
this is
dementia.
Is this down somewhere else?
this is Vegas. I'd rather
Vegas.
not say that.
Okay.
No, rather not say
Okay.
that. Rather keep the names out of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I was sparring with somebody who was a very, very good boxer,
Yeah.
world champion, and
Angry.
in multiple weight classes, and was talking a lot of shit to me during the sparring session.
Yeah.
I was 22 years old, in with a world champion, and I'm not going to say I was doing anything great. I was just fresh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was fresh. He's sparring multiple rounds. That's what I'm there for. Hey,
Yeah.
you're a sparring partner.
Put in the
Hop
fresh
in,
guy,
and you're the fresh guy in. So great. I'm long, lanky, and giving him movement, which he doesn't want. He wants to bang on the inside. And round goes on. He's talking smack, whatever. I'm just doing my thing, and then we get in the clinch, and then I get bit on my neck.
What the?
Bit, and I'm just like, a kind of a pretty instant reaction.
Yeah.
To
Fucking kick his ass.
give an uppercut into the balls.
Perfect.
Go Canada, go!
And he drops, and he's down, like it was a clean shot, like probably shifted the cup on an angle, you know what I mean, on that perfect angle. You can be wearing a cup, but you can still, everybody
in
knows that you
sparring.
can
Don't
still.
bite fucking Canadian guys.
No.
Ever.
So he's rolling around. It's like, one more round. I'm like, oh boy, what happens when he gets up? Like it's
Yeah,
on.
it's gonna be-
you know,
he's
it's
gonna
on.
be-
But you know what? No, it was good after that.
Good.
It was
So
cool.
that was good.
Yeah,
So you
it
went,
was
but
good.
he stepped it up, obviously.
No, it was actually
No?
cool. Surprisingly,
Just fine?
Yeah, I don't know what it
So
was.
what
but-
was the bite thing? Did he ever tell you? Did he ever talk to you and go, "Hey, man"?
just
The fear reaction.
just just trying to clown on me.
Yeah.
You're trying to clown on a kid. Whatever, it's all good. Fuck, I can take it. Like,
So then those.
that's the
tests-
thing. You got it. In this sport, sometimes you see in a fight, I don't care what it is, boxing, kickboxing, MMA, or whatever, like, you see a guy get hit. Or, maybe it's a little bit behind the ear, maybe it's
Yeah.
a little bit low, or, and they start, like, whining, complaining to the
About-
ref. Like, to me, like, just fight, man.
Yeah.
Just fight. I don't know. It's like, you kind of
like-
got
kinda like
You
soccer.
kind of got to be able to take that. I got bit.
like-
you did a foul to me, and I did a foul back.
Yeah.
We're good. It's cool. Do we want to escalate it? Because it's going to get ugly if it's escalated.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to doing what
Going-
we're
doing
supposed
the
to be
sparring.
doing.
And that's part of the
Instead
team.
of whining and
that's part of the
complaining
team
about
stuff.
it. He bit me.
So that's
no, you
part-
got a fucking uppercut in the balls. You bite me, you get a fucking uppercut in the balls. We're good. It's even.
Yeah.
Let's go back to boxing.
It's kind of like what Trump and Iran did recently. Little Little boom,
I
little
like that
bomb.
analogy.
you know what?
That is a great
You're
analogy.
100% right on that. They don't want to escalate it. They know why it's too much drama if you
Yeah,
escalate it. Too
nuclear
many
war.
consequences. Just just truce.
Okay, so that's kind of like sparring. In the fight game, where now you're in your fights. What's your attitude there, and what's your mental game to preserve self and really watch over yourself? What are you thinking? What's going through your mind in a real?
Well, I'm retired. I'm no longer competing. So
No, but in your past.
my mind is pretty chill these days.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, in that sport, you 100% have to win because if you're every loss is like a loss in your paycheck, and your stock goes down. So, that's the thing. Like where I see like people doing this sport or want to do this sport, if you're not all in and doing what you need to do, I just don't understand why you do it.
Yep.
So yeah, you're all in, but there's so many different mentalities you can bring to a fight, and it's just what's right for you. Some people are. I'll give you to the girls that I'm training right now. One of them is a very tactical, and she it's not emotional, and she can really pick a person apart by doing that, and then one of the other girls is very like coming at you and chucking bombs.
Yep.
And they're both those mentalities work.
They both work in their style.
They both work for them. They both work for their style. Either I'm coming after you, or I'm making you miss, and making you pay.
One go to the end of the round, because the tactician one was going to have so many hits in at the person by the end of the round. So is that later on in the fight? Does the tactician win, or early on in the fight is the aggressive one? It all depends on what
it's totally open, right? Like it's there for the taking by either of those types of styles.
And do you know the fighters that you're going in to see? Are you prepping for a certain fighter sometimes, or do you get
depends.
that?
Yeah, it depends. Like this weekend is a round robin tournament, and we won't know until the draw on Friday.
Yep.
Right. So once the draw comes, then we get
Then
an
you'll do your
idea
research?
of who you're fighting. You have an idea of who's in, who's fighting, but there's always unknowns or people that move here from somewhere. So, or maybe you got a match fight where you know who you're fighting, and then you're preparing for that, right? That opponent. But they get changed all the time. People get injured. People get sick. Fights change.
Totally.
So you just focus on you and just be ready for anything or in anyone.
In that first round, is there a sensing out the other opponent to see what type of fighter they are, or is there?
I think there
just
should be.
go time?
I think there should be, but there doesn't have to be. You might catch someone cold, and you're like, this guy's just like totally cold. And go after him because he hasn't like got that second wind. So that guy that hasn't had that proper warm up, his energy system isn't as good as the guys that's gone into his secondary phase of
the first one
being ready to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that's the guy you go after. I think ultimately, if you're over aggressive, you end up being a little bit reckless, and I think there's certain weight categories you can be more reckless than others. So I don't ever think anything is across the board a rule in this sport. But I think some of the heavier guys out there got to be pretty cautious before they open up.
Hey, how's it going for the street training? Are you guys using an advanced red man suit now for teaching people how to fight with blindfolds on? All this, I'm hearing this crazy wild stuff, and I see Zuma's moving in, so we're gonna have 3 rings and a 3-block radius pretty soon here. And you guys, Stan's been there for 25 years, putting out champions and yourself, and it's been a wonderful thing. How do you feel about that question I just asked you, though?
What people are training on?
Yeah.
For like self-defense.
Yeah. What do you think of the street thing? Is it the most practical and yet the most innovative thing that's come out in a long time? Because the red man suit, you can only do so much.
What's the red man suit?
They're like padded suits that police departments use, and you can really kick the crap out of each other.
Yeah, we do.
But they've got something crazy. Please tell us about that.
Oh, okay, I'm not familiar with the Redman one that you're talking about, but we do have a couple of those giant suits that you wear with like the halo and helmet. And yeah, you can go nuts on people in them. You know what? I think they're very good for self-defense situations where you really can get a taste of hitting somebody and unloading and dealing with that moving target. So I think they're good for that.
I've noticed that a lot.
Go ahead,
the belly pad and moving and punching and putting that together rather than standing in front of a bag is really good for your footwork and positioning.
Because ultimately, like, a skilled martial artist has trained for years to have like lightning fast, like, visual processing. You take somebody like Vasily Lomachenko and you watch how many calculations he's making and what he's doing. Like, there's all kinds of YouTube clips out there. Enter the Matrix, Vasily Lomachenko. You watch those. And they slow them down, and he's making like 5 moves to his opponent's 1. And that's just years and years and years of training. So you need to train for that speed processing. And a heavy bag is great because as good as it is for a lot of things you're going to do, it's not making you do defensive timing while you're throwing it. So that's where some type of the guy's got one of those big shields on, and you're hitting it, and he's throwing punches back at you. So you got offense and defense, and you put your movement into it as well.
You're protecting yourself.
I think those types of things are the suit that you're talking about for self-defense. I think they work great. Because you have to work on reading a straight punch from a hook or a straight, what kind of kick is that? Is it straight? Is it a roundhouse? What all's coming at you? Because you have to make such quick choices in reading techniques when it comes to a fight. So they're great they're a great training tool.
So when you have a really shy, weak individual, do they go inside the suit and get attacked and get to feel what it's like to be punched very hard, and that's where they gain confidence? Or are they attacking the
They're attacking the suit.
Mostly it's attacking.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what most victims can attack. That's where they get scared. One thing that my partner does, Stan, with his Krav Maga, is they do like scenarios, which is pretty interesting. They do scenarios where they'll have that person in that suit, like, I don't know, they'll like turn the person around, so they don't know what's going on, and then it's like basically turn around, and now here comes a guy with a knife in the suit. Here comes a guy with a bat in the suit. You know what I mean? Here comes 2 guys, one from this guy, and they're both attacking you. So it's an instant, you don't know what's going on. You see it, you react, you read, you react, and incapacitate, So I think they do a lot of good with the simulations, multiple opponents, and then of course, more than anything when it comes to self-defense, it's about escaping it. It's not about, hurting someone. It's not about incapacitating someone. It's about surviving.
A lot about getting out of the situation first.
Get out of it. And if you got no other way to go, you got no other options, then it's fight. But the majority of the times, like the repercussions of dealing with it, it's a nightmare. You know what I mean?
Bears in a forest don't want to fight. They don't want to break an ankle. They don't want to break an ankle and then go have to hunt. But it's a real human thing that is almost ego driven, and being martial artist, it really takes that away. So you never get into fights anymore. You guys are drunk and upset. See ya. You just get the fuck out of there.
Or 9 guys jump you.
Well, that's different, but that rarely happens.
Yeah. When I was working in executive protection, like if I had to do something, like I failed.
Yes.
If I had to put my hands on somebody, I failed.
Yeah, because that's an insurance claim against a high
how did I not
person.
See that coming?
Yeah.
Why were we there in the first place? Why was this person able to get access?
Crowd control, mostly.
It's like if there's an incident, like, you failed. You know,
My guy who did hospital security got in really sketchy situations all times at the hospital. You can imagine the emotion there.
Yeah.
And they'd send him in because he was the smallest. You go, hey guys, you got a Diddy gang, you got to get out of here. We can't have you guys in the parking lot partying right now. Come on, guys, Diddy Mao, you got to get out of here.
What's Diddy Mao?
You know, they used it in the movie Deer Hunter, where they're going to shoot each other in the head. They're doing the suicide. You didn't know that? Oh, it's fucking best Robert De Niro movie of all time, Deer Hunter.
You really?
Oh yeah, there's the Pittsburgh steel workers, and they go to Vietnam, and they get captured. So all they do is they play Russian roulette. Well, real Americans at the time started shooting themselves in the heads playing this game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember that.
I can see the Joker causing a lot of people to lose
It
their
happened
shit
to, I
too.
think, the kids across the street when I was in grade 5 here in Victoria. Same
yeah?
kind of thing, doing a little Russian roulette thing.
Whoa. There's a 12-year-old shot another kid coming home from school.
Guns.
12-year-old.
Guns. We got kids running around. Why do we have guns hanging around?
Because
what,
of greed.
for what? Plastic dollars? For dollars made of beef tallow?
You're talking about Canadian money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're bringing out guns for that shit.
But our job is to make people safe through protection.
Yeah. So
Because
so
if
we
you feel
defend
confident and
ourselves
safe-
from guns by first of all not using guns.
Stop
and
taking-
using a martial art technique to defend ourselves from people that have that fear.
And get rid of the poisons in our life, all the plastic, like you say, the sugar and all this other stuff. We're being attacked, inundated by enemies from all different.
I think it's being attacked by self. Remember, as an artist that's practicing betterment, you're doing the
point.
best to get yourself better
Good point.
and strive to be stronger. And well, then that produces less fear and more self-confidence and really a light to see the right answers in situations.
You always fought as a southpaw, didn't you?
yeah.
So it was the big left that would just is that
Dude,
is that
look at my nose. This guy fucking cranked me with the left, and I was like, "What? He's a southpaw? I thought that was his job."
Can we get a
Fuck.
look straight into the camera? here?
giant
Oh, yeah.
southpaw.
I go down. I come up to VAR's gym.
Victoria Amateur Ring
yeah,
Sports,
I just-
1990.
93 probably,
Okay,
and
yeah.
I'm at Belmont. No, it's actually it was before that. No, 91 or something. 91.
Yeah,
Wow.
around the time that Donnie Orr and Mike Downey, they
I
had
don't
that
even
little
know.
boxing.
I can't even remember the date, really. But
Don't
they-
drink any water.
So,
Yeah, I think you're right.
it's around there, 91.
Yeah,
So I got into a fight in box in Belmont, at the upper level, and this guy, I took a big swing at him. And left myself wide open. Total miss. Boom! He knocks me out with a big right, and I'm standing up. I'm knocked out standing up, and he grabs me, and he just starts hockey fighting me. Boom, boom. So I kind of wake up out of my stupor from the first one, and we go fighting. So right after that, I'm like, I got to learn how to box. So I come down to VARS, and my cousin, Sean Warren, said, hey, I'm doing some boxing there. There's your boxer going by. That's awesome. Brandon. So I go down there, and we're doing our sparring, and I'm sparring for about a month. And Jason and I go to get in there, do a little light sparring, and boom, I get a jab on the nose, and I go, hold on a minute. Just hold on. And he stops. He's like, and then clear, all the fucking blood starts coming out. So all I can remember in all the sparring after that is really moving a lot because you didn't want to get the nose tapped. It stayed broken forever. It's like once you get an injury like that, how do you heal? What is the process? And you want to keep getting that. I guess you wear the.
Well, the nose is, basically with most boxers, they're going to get deviated septums from the repetitive blows, and then it just becomes quite mushy. But yeah, you kind of just chip away at that cartilage over the years. Most people, or maybe it's one big punch. Most of it's lower. When it breaks up higher, that's a bad one because that's actual bone, and that's going to take a while. But if it's low, it's just cartilage, and so that's not too bad.
You're sparring against Kit, and Kit has a way, even now, of exerting his power. there's no fooling around. There's no sparring. Did he maybe get a little excessive that day, and you just had to stop him like you would a dog that was attacking? Because he's got more. He's got self-control now. It's a beautiful thing.
A little bit.
I think
Did he try and?
No, I think just sparring in general, we sparred harder.
It was a
back in
different
the
level.
day, whereas now we're like, well, I think we can just control it a lot more because we.
Is that a good thing?
There was
I
about
think so.
there was about 15 sparring partners. That was Commonwealth Games times,
yeah,
and so we had all of the
yeah.
Sierra. Like Dennis Candy was not sparring. Like he fucking hooked you and hooked you and hooked you and hooked you and hooked you, and it was just like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get killed in this mother. It's like, okay, you're up with Dennis next. Whoa, great.
Dennis Kang?
Yeah, and all these the Welsh
Dennis
fighters.
Candy, he fought from
Came from
Sierra Leone and fought in the
94 Commonwealth Games.
Kit
Victoria.
Monroe, Kit Monroe was a Canadian
Yeah.
champion.
Stan said that was the only guy that made him nervous.
Oh, he was a nightmare to spar with. He just came out, you throwing bombs the whole time.
It
He
was a
didn't
hook
stop.
fest.
He was my favorite sparring partner. Kit Monroe, still to this day, that guy, if I was doing rounds with him, I had great cardio.
Yeah,
Because he came at me the entire time.
the whole time.
The whole time.
Backed you up, fucking.
What,
It was like, whoa,
what an
huh.
amazing pressure boxer, and the chin to be able
And
to
he's
do
short
it.
and tiny, so he's coming in and under, and you're lanky and long, and he's coming up inside like Tyson or something.
Still supplying the power. He's some kind of hydro guy now,
Yeah.
working the poles and giving us
I
power.
sparred him only a few times. A couple times he came into the old bars, but it was fun. and Chris Peak.
Fun.
Chris
Yeah,
Peak bringing
Chris
his
Peak.
girlfriend into the fucking show and
show
and
off?
just going hardcore. He's like,
Wally Petrovic brought his
it's like what?
nephew in one night to beat me up. Were you there the night when I kicked him in the nose by accident and his nose started bleeding?
No,
I was training for my fight and I had Jason in my corner.
yeah.
But Wally Petrovic, and he brought his nephew in, and he had two girls with him, and they're gonna take me out and stuff, and it was just a nice roundhouse.
Well,
kick
you know
that he
what? It's
couldn't block.
fun talking about all the old guys and stuff because you learn where you grew up. It's where you got your stuff from. Your boxing increased because of the speed at which we trained. So yeah, you're gonna get a little busted nose, but you're gonna also get great dynamics, real life action, no fucking little, okay, we're gonna do this little thing over here and breathe a bit, and then when you get into the action, you're gonna get fucking dropped. So I kind of like sparring at that level because that was real life. I like sparring, or I like practicing real life.
yeah.
It's better.
Well, it's comparable to the military,
Yep.
right? When you take recruits and you work them hard. Ken, I know I'd like to hear your perspective on this. Because
Former
if these people are going in and they're trained hard, they're ready for combat. But if you're not preparing them for combat and you send them in,
Yep.
I mean, you tell me, because I see times changing. Where a lot of the stuff that recruits from the years past, we're doing to prepare them. I don't necessarily.
Well, a lot
I
of
got a
people
good
are-
story.
done
I got a
now,
good
so
story on that.
I want to know about this.
A lot of people are disenfranchised with the way it's been a bit of, I don't want to use the word liberalism, but it's been more feminism in the military, and it's more about PERs and PDRs and stuff.
What's
and
that?
The combat warrior spirit started to denigrate in 1984 when they brought in human rights. And then suddenly, because the weak sisters out there or the weak brothers that couldn't do the training, they would, well, I'm injured, I can't do the exercise today. And that we started having to pass people through because we needed certain minorities of people to get in there. And so we were like, and it didn't matter. We had to
So
get,
that's a team
we
thing.
needed university students because we want to
that's
show
a-
that we're diverse with university students. And then it wasn't really a team thing. They try to bring the team
No, but
together.
I mean, you're putting a team together. So, like, you got this pro team, which is our life and death military, and we're gonna throw in some fucking subs in there against the New Zealand All Blacks because you know what? Because we got to have some diversity.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
I'm even hearing from some infantry and artillery guys now that these are the ultimate warriors. These are the fucking frontline guys. And they're saying, "Fuck, this is getting a little too soft."
So, is there groups of military that aren't soft that say,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
these are the fractions. We need this elite team
Yeah,
and they got to be these standards.
Well, we kind of do. We still have
that? What
JTF. We have still
JTF?
Joint Task Force, but we still have, the old airborne that was disbanded because one guy was killed in Somalia. So they disbanded the entire military because of one guy getting killed, and it was a bit of a shit show. And I know those guys. That was my regiment at the time, PPCLI, who they all gone to the airborne, and so we're getting rid of an entire regiment. The Pegasus Strike banned. All these movies and stuff are about the airborne. It was Canada's best resource for the toughest guys, and they trained as fucking like warriors all the time. The Kit Monroes, right, of the world. Yeah. These just go in there smashing. And now it's, I don't know, I see guys shaking hands before fights now and like loving each other almost, and then putting it on. I'm not sure how they can do that when you're Tyson back and forth with the eyes. But
yeah, it goes to the McGregor and boxing fight. It was kind of like wrestling shit they're putting out. And I don't mind entertainment, but I really like fights that are hardcore and real and getting into the actual action of it, not more of the wrestling kind of promotional aspect of the fight game.
Jay, did you watch?
But that's what sells.
John Jones and Reyes this weekend.
I didn't. I didn't. I was coaching myself. Yeah, so I didn't get to see it.
Personally, I thought Reyes won 3 rounds to 2.
That's what I hear.
But
let's
anyway,
get on to
let's digress.
another subject.
Ken, any?
But if we're going to disband, we can disband a lot of different units out there for
men and women in uniforms.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you for your service.
Exactly.
There, Ken.
Well, back in the day, I was very proud to die and all that stuff for my country. But now
you're a veteran.
But now I'm asking questions like, why are we? I don't know. The way politics is just getting weird now. It's a strange world.
It sure is.
And the people who whine,
it's an evolution.
Who can
right?
write?
It's just the world is evolving. But yeah, I am curious to see if like I'm saying with fighters, we're seeing some of them. We're trying to be safer. Right, in our training, which is a good thing, and I know the military is too.
Well, look at the RCMP. Yeah. When I talk to
you can't fight when you're injured.
When I talk to old RCMP dudes, when I used to be in the delivery business, I go, what do you think they're bringing? About the time they started bringing in more women and this and that, they go, are you kidding? When I have to go into that bar and take out those 2 big guys, I want some more big guys with me. And that was the old school thought. Nowadays, it's everybody. It's
Well, and you're talking about a bar situation which is alcohol again. And
I would still rather have Brock Lesnar or Jason Heit with me than
I would pick my team of bar wrestlers, and that would be important.
Size would be important to me. Muscle, strength, speed.
Mo was a small guy. His techniques were fantastic. He'd lock you up. Mo's a famous.
Mo sounds like a hand puppet.
Mo's a famous bar. I think he's still working.
Local guy.
Googly was his code.
Well, here's the thing. I think you need a diversified police force.
Jeremiah Armstrong.
Right. So you need the biggest, baddest woman. You need the biggest, baddest man.
That's what I'm saying.
You need people that know how to do those things, right?
Yep.
You need to have them well trained in physical restraint, right? You want them to be good at what they do. You want them to be, right? The more training that way, the better, right? And so, but they lower the standards because we need this,
Well, we were talking military, more about operations for the country, and then being so we're talking about an elite level, almost like a professional
boxer
or boxer,
kickboxer, UFC.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like you have elite units, you have elite units in the military, but really, the guys that are actually going to fight a war, if we have one, they're working on the construction site right now. They're working on the oil patch, right? Right, like you know what I'm saying, right?
They're in Iraq,
but they're putting in work, right? And they're here when they need it. So the peacetime military is going to get softer and softer, and especially with the politics we have today, globally in Canada, right? it's going to weaken. It's going right. It's got to be all politically correct. We have to have, a quotient of transgender people and a quotient of
Do you think
Z's
that,
and she's and we's and
Do you think
D's.
that food is playing a big part of this? The estrogen and leaching plastic in all our food sources and water sources, is that numbing down a nation of people to be a little soft?
Testosterone.
I got to tell you, I'd rather have a circa 1942 bunch of lumberjacks to go to war with than
Well, that's what they used in World War II. That's what they used in World
than a
War
bunch
I.
of
They used
Fernwood
lumberjacks.
hippies, right?
Yeah.
Lumberjacks, fishermen, the prairie guys, the East Coast guys, the guys from Cape Breton. That's what made up World
Well,
War
remember
I and
this.
II.
Remember this. It's a cyclical, right? Because hard times make hard men. Hard men make good times. Good times make weak men.
Yep.
And it cycles through, right? And so we're really in the good times making weak men.
Or take the good time to make your practices that of, hey, I'm going to be better than my last day, and make yourself strong.
Each and every day, brother.
So the military now is they've actually switched. It's almost embarrassing, but now they're switching to people from Taiwan and stuff, people high tech people for war, because our wars are becoming more high tech now with lasers and drone strikes, and there's so much cool.
It's like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you need stormtroopers to kick down the door, and you need video game kids to fly drones. I think that's useful training. Call of Duty transfers really well, right? Like,
So we went to from all of the fighting, all of the martial arts and the fight game, and we went right up to the military, and I dived into those subjects. What are we doing for fun these days? Are you surfing? What do you do to relax and get away from all of the?
I've seen Jason Heit and Tofino.
Yeah, but I still surf a lot. I didn't surf that much this year. I normally surf a lot more. I don't know. This year,
You've been busy.
I think I'm dealing with that SAD right now.
What's that one?
Just you're not getting enough sun.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it makes you just like a. Like normally I'm like, I want to go surfing, and this year it's been like, it's raining, it's wet, it's dark, I don't want to drive,
Comfort zone.
It's just like kind of a bit of a loss of stoke.
Yep.
Which I'm thinking is just, because this winter has been so long. I just haven't been that stoked for like a couple months, and I think I'm just really dealing with needing sun.
And your partner should get you on the next flight to Thailand and
Get a little break.
get a little sunshine.
I'm taking vitamin D.
Yeah.
D3,
But I think I'm going to head to California for a training camp before the Nationals here. So probably in
That'll
March.
get you some,
and I catch
some
up on some sun.
energy.
Because I haven't been and this winter's been like, it's been big and it's been messy and it's been stormy, and there's just, I don't know. I mean, there's been good size out there, but like. Yeah, just not surfing enough this year.
So what are you gonna do? What are you doing for the fun? What are you doing for fun besides surfing? Then, what replaces it? Because you gotta tune in the aspect of. I know you're coaching. You really enjoy that.
Yeah, I do really
That's
enjoy
fun.
that.
Seeing the kids' faces light up when they get the fucking hook properly, and they get that's a lot of fun. But what about outside of boxing?
Family.
Family.
Try to spend a lot of time with my family, and it's been, like I say, it's been pretty chill. His
daughter's a street nurse, isn't she? Street psychologist. She goes around and helps people on the street that are the most desperate, most needy people right now in this war against fentanyl and.
Yeah, she is.
That's really cool.
Community support worker.
Yeah,
very cool.
Doing
What a
great.
cool.
Very
Great
proud. Very
service.
proud of her. Tough job with no easy answer, no easy fix. We see a lot of addiction in this world. We see a lot of substance abuse, and that's a really, really challenging one on how that gets fixed.
What's your message to people out there listening to this?
He's doing it with the coaching of breath work in boxing.
I think you got to deal with it in a really holistic approach. I think a big part of it starts with what you're putting in your body for its fuel. You need clean water, you need clean food, you have to exercise. I think if you're not exercising, you're not getting the benefits that you could out of how you're going to feel. Your endocrine system, your hormones, your your endorphins.
Sitting in chairs for 8 hours a
I think
day.
it's important to be active. I think it's important to be around very good, positive. They don't necessarily have to be positive because, sometimes negative is a good place to be if you got to deal with truth and you got to and you got to look at things. We can't always just be positive because there's some things that need to get dealt with, and you actually need to delve into them and strip them down and look at it in order to be able to grow through it. But be around people that are good influences, and I think truth and accountability are important things to hear, and sometimes your friends that are giving you that truth and accountability, sometimes it's hard to hear, but it might be a necessary message. And then there's sometimes people are energy vampires and you got to avoid them, so choose your tribe wisely and
a little less breathing into the microphone.
Oh, sorry, I was getting excited.
I was still thinking about Jason Heit and spandex going to Tofino.
Oh, jeez.
Imagine Jason Heit. He actually goes out to relax, goes to do some surfing stuff, heads out to Jordan River, goes on the wrong beach where these 30 guys have been there for like 50 years, have this one little pack of the beach, and all of a sudden it turns into this giant martial arts movie. Now, I'd fucking pay to see that.
Yeah,
Did you hear about those guys out there?
1620 original.
They're like the surf guys.
That was that long time ago.
Are you talking about the Sombrio?
Yeah, Sombrio.
Lived down
Okay, when I was 18,
that's an amazing part of the history of this island.
That's right.
That really truly is. Those were people that lived there for 20 years. They lived off the grid, like true off the grid.
Squatters.
20 years. That was a dirt road that wasn't paved.
Yeah.
And they lived off the land, and had a nice little community down there. And then remember what happened? You guys remember how it all ended?
What? No.
Hydro came in and
They burned it. They burned the village to the ground.
whoa.
Oh, yeah. They can't.
Whoa, I didn't know
What
that.
happened? They give me the lowdown. I haven't heard about this.
I'm not sure who would have enforced that.
Yep.
Possibly Parks Canada. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was
Yep.
Parks. I don't know if it was contractors. I don't know if it was police.
There was families with
There's
kids.
families there. Yeah, they came down. They basically let them know, like,
Yep.
we're coming. You got to leave. And they burned the houses down. You
Sounds
still
like
see, when
Waco,
you go down
Texas.
to Sombrio, you can still see like where Chickens is. That's where the chicken coop used to be. You'll still see
Oh, is that
the
that's
stone.
the chickens is because there was a coop there.
That's where the chicken coop was.
What?
But the stones, there's the fireplace there.
Yep.
The fireplace foundation is still there. So that's the old village, and a bunch of characters lived down there for 20.
I was
20
going
some
down
years.
there when I was 17 with Sean Warren, and
Yeah.
that's when the whole family was there still, and I was just learning about surfing and stuff, and they were always nice. They were always showing really good. The kids were amazing surfers. Surf every day.
Wow.
Yeah, that was some different times. Squatters and Jordan River.
So, Jay, just to clarify, you said
Sombrio,
5
just
o'clock
past
you have
Jordan
to go
River.
teaching? Okay, well, we're at 4:24.
420.
Just so you know.
1620. Bang on. Look at that, eh?
Oh man, we could do like 20 shows on Jason Heit.
Yeah.
You open him up, man, and he's so sensitive to what's going on in the world, and he's in this most violent sport. There's nothing more, next to rugby, but when you're fighting a guy that's pretty violent,
That's different.
and the fact you have to get up for that every day and be confident and be fit enough to coach even, because there's so much emotion there and stuff. So, so what's your favorite brand of cannabis to smoke? Do you an indica man, sativa, or
A brand? I don't smoke any brands because the brands they're offering us aren't brands that I would agree with to support and smoke.
That's
well,
true.
what's going on with the brands that the government is putting together at?
It's just not where I would spend my money, and not how I would. It's not something I would financially support. I disagree with the whole system. of how
There's
it's been
several
rolled out.
reasons for
quality.
that.
Go ahead.
Well,
please.
we saw cronies get handed licenses. We saw stock pump and dump scams go out there. We saw short selling go out there. We saw the people that get left holding the bag at the end of the day are the working class. So we saw like I said, cronies get handed these licenses and pull off stock scams, and this is so-called legalization. And we saw pioneers kept out. We saw small business owners kept out, and we see this large corporate agenda once again taking over in this country, as opposed to letting small businesses be a part of it and thrive and bring back the middle class. So I think the whole rollout of legalization is a tragic failure. So when we talk about cannabis brands, no, I don't know of any that I would actually go out and buy and support. I might when craft cannabis actually comes to the market and we see local farmers, we see local money being made in this industry. At that point, I would probably support it.
Excellent.
But until then,
Aurora just laid off 500 people, and had MedRelief. All these other companies are under Aurora.
People are starting to see
because they had no revenue. They were stock pump and dump, short sell scams. And then we get people saying, "Oh, this is just part of a natural growth in industry." It's like,
to really put a bad.
Tell that to all the hardworking folks who invested in this, in your scam, And all these people aren't. Well, we are seeing class action lawsuits in the U.S., so we might see some accountability, but I doubt it.
Well, what I look for the future is some of the education and craft guys coming up and projecting that into the market of knowledge of, hey, we've been doing this 40 years here. We've got these practices that are really well done, and now it's time to educate a system on the proper techniques and things that could enhance the Canadian economy.
Should we go visit John Horgan? Because 2 months ago he said we need our craft guys. As BC Bud, the province was built on it. Amsterdam, they're getting BC Bud. This is ridiculous. We got the best product in the country. And, I mean, he's even calling himself down because this is a shitty rollout. The way it was rolled out and stuff, as you say.
I saw the other day an article saying that one of these major corporate cannabis stores is opening over at Saanich Centre. I don't know if it was maybe Tweed or something like that. I'm like, this is the island, man.
Yeah.
Why would not a local person have that opportunity?
Yeah.
You bring in Ontario corporations in here it's just
I don't think it will be supported. I think what it is it's a mistake at the top level of these corporations that think that they're going to throw up their shop in an area of people that have grown up on something a caviar better. So now you're getting subpar. And I think the business model is just that, a pump and dump and uneducated decisions about the medicine, the craft flower, the terpenes, the cannabinoids, the beautiful reactions that people get from a quality craft item.
And above all else, this is first priority is medicine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which has been forgotten about.
Yep.
I mean, that's brutal how they just...
It is.
Right away, this all gets, like, people with recreational get put above the medicinal. I think that's a major failure. Well, maybe not a failure. Maybe it's just corporate greed. Maybe that's really...
Corporate mistakes. I look at that as a way now in business practice. If the corporate failures on the Canadian cannabis rollout, that's a detriment to our economic value and a detriment to BC branded products known around the world. To lower that's almost the terrorist act against the country.
I agree. If people are getting LP weed and thinking that this is BC Bud, like, no, you're wrong. You're getting something a year and a half old that's got 28 plus approved pesticides on it, irradiated, stored in plastic for a year and a half. Like,
holy shit!
If anybody's buying that, smoking that, thinking that's good quality product, no, you're not. You're smoking crap.
It sounds like that the people are getting a subpar product, and we can turn that around with the introduction of craft. here at 1620, we're looking at all of these avenues because we're really fine Canadians, making ourselves better, but also looking to the betterment of the Canada as a whole and Canadians as a whole and medical practices and just truth.
And you have to make the system viable for people to be a part of it. I just don't, I thought there was hope with the craft industry, to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then I found out I have to rent this facility, build the facility, wait for 2 years, paying all the expenses, hoping that they would approve me for a license.
Wow.
I might as well just go to play some blackjack, or go play some roulette.
That's a better bet.
Go play some roulette. Put it all on black. There we go. Let it roll.
Double zeros would be a better bet.
I'd probably have a better chance of making money doing that, than throwing $2 million at a project to hope that maybe they'll give me a license. Maybe.
So I think that by practicing the law and working through all of this, we can get a message out on education and things that will better it over the next 10 years. Is it kind of our duty as Canadians to make sure that this rollout isn't a failure?
Well, I like free markets. I really do, because they balance themselves. And what we're seeing with this is over-regulation, bureaucratic red tape, excessive expenses and costs, and I don't get it. I see so much missed opportunity the way that Canada rolled this out, with not allowing people to, I guess just small to medium-sized business owners be a part of it.
Nice. Well, it's good to touch on these subjects because I think cannabis has a big job for the opioid reduction, and I see a lot of benefits to everybody's inflammation from food, from clothing, from practices that are unavoidable, and I think we're on a track to at least spreading that knowledge and healing people in the process, which will uplift our country.
We've got about 3-4 minutes left before we sum up here, guys. Anything else you want to say?
I think
that we didn't cover yet today, Jason?
Coronavirus, didn't cover that one.
Jeez, this is hot topic, isn't it?
Gonna need more than 3 minutes. Gonna need more than 3 minutes for this one. So many possibilities where this might head. You know what I mean?
This reminds me of a few movies we watched.
Yeah, is this just some fear and another flu, or is this going to be like
bigger than SARS already?
Is this going to be a big global epidemic?
Pandemic, yeah, like SARS already. It's more people have died.
It's really really been a powerful image to suppress a Chinese market, is what I see.
Major economic impact.
Major economic warfare going on.
Think of the economic impact for the person that comes out with the vaccination.
Yeah.
Tune in next week to Conspiracy Files with
Jason Heit, Kit Warren.
Jason Heit.
Well, the coronavirus is definitely has people in fear vibrations. Now, in a fear response, would you want your fighter going into the ring in a fear response to anything? I think what you want to do is strengthen that fighter and strengthen those people to be able to make wise decisions, to keep their health up as much as possible, to make strong decisions in their life to protect themselves.
Yeah.
And by doing that,
keep that immune system strong right now.
You're balancing it, and so we got a threat of some weird virus that's really getting into sick people or weaker people that are then spreading it, maybe to healthy people at the same time. But the healthier you can keep yourself, I think the better leader you are, and the better community we're going to create.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure.
Boom.
1620 High Noon Show with Robin Unger.
Got to go
Second
because he's got to
producer.
train the kids tonight.
Kid
and
Warren,
get
host.
people out there stronger, get Victorians stronger just by breath work, just by working out, by boxing. So get off your butt, get off the couches, get into the rings that we got in Victoria, and learn how to be a better version of your last self.
Kit Warren, executive producer of the show. Jeremiah Armstrong, creative director and all things else. Tech guy. Jason Heit was on the show, one of the greatest fighters, one of the greatest lovers in Canadian history. Everybody wants him. And I'm Ken Herc. Oh, Hollywood Himes.
Hollywood Himes.
The super high guy all the time. I don't know.
Right on. Good
How do you say that?
I'm Ken Himes, the plant medicine guy who's always high.
That's correct. I'm so high. I'm the plant medicine guy, Ken Himes, who's always high. Thanks for listening to 1620. Have a beautiful day, beautiful life.
Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you.
Follow on at 1620 High Noon.
Yeah, we can do it.
And pending website 1620podcasts.com. Thank you for listening and watching.
I'm going to take these off gently. Very
I hope
gentle.
we got that on tape. We're going to use the fucking them breaking the